Hello music lovers, welcome to my channel. My name is Caesar Pink.
Let your mama down. Let your mama down. Let your mama down. Baby, please.
Today I'm here with Tony DeLullo, longtime friend and creative partner. Tony has been a member of the Imperial Orgy Group since maybe 1998.
Yep.
And
a lot of good shows we had.
yeah. And still had. We had.
Yes. And still have to go. Yep.
Yeah. But you know, one of the things that makes Tony a great guitar player is I throw a lot of things at him outside his wheelhouse. Like, you gotta do this punk type of style from 1979, and he always finds a way to make it happen and get it right. Before we get started, all the proceeds from this channel go to the Arete Living Arts Foundation. The mission of Arete Living Arts is to create and promote art that inspires personal, political, or spiritual awakening. So if you could like and subscribe, it really helps us build our channel. If you want to donate more, you could join our Patreon or donate via PayPal. All the links are down below in the description. So as part of our 15 underappreciated guitar players, we are going to look at St. Vincent, who is one of my personal favorites, both as a guitar player and as a songwriter and performer. Do you know St. Vincent at all?
Well, I know St. Vincent from you, showing me some shows and on some videos, and I'm looking forward to looking at some more and appreciating her more. So
yeah,
very creative.
I've seen her live, I don't know, like maybe 5 times.
Okay.
Yeah, I had heard her name around, like somebody that, maybe would be interesting. I'd never listened to her music, but she did a free show in Prospect Park. I went over there. My wife was with me, and she was very pregnant with my daughter Susquehanna.
Oh, man.
And she came on, and about 3 songs into it, my jaw kind of dropped, and my thought was, this is the first genius girl guitar player. There are many great female guitar players, but what she was doing was so unique and innovative that it was really her own thing. And so I went back and started exploring her past catalog, and I was so into it, sometimes I couldn't listen to it because, like, her creativity inspired me so much that it, like, hurt. Like, wow. I wanted to, like, go and do something with that inspiration she gave me, and I wasn't able to in that moment. So it's like, I'm not going to listen to this right now because it's going to make me too actually pained, you know what I mean? It's a weird thing. But also, most of her music, I think there's 2 kinds of music. There's music that makes good background music, and there's music that you have to listen to like a movie. Like, you have to be thinking about it as you listen to it. And I think most of her music falls into that category. It's not like aggressive usually, but it's kind of different enough that you can't look away from it.
You have to pay attention.
Yeah,
to
you have to pay attention.
Yeah.
Anyways, the first thing we'll listen to is a compilation of different. Somebody put it together. It's like a bunch of guitar solos that they write. But here we go, St. Vincent.
It's a lot.
live set there that he recorded from his studio.
Yeah, her rhythm is awesome because she's playing so rhythmically. So she's combining rhythm guitar and lead guitar, so it's just it's a much more complete sound. That's great.
Is the favorite of mine.
What's the song?
I think it's called Surgeon.
Almost like trance.
I think this is the very end of the song.
Pretty wild.
This is a different song.
She doesn't use a pick, obviously, so.
And one thing interesting, she uses the guitar synthesizer.
Yeah, I noticed that in the last song.
And sometimes when you play them, they have latency.
Yeah.
Like they'll be like a little bit behind
Yeah.
what you're actually playing,
Yeah.
and it'll cause a weird. And usually that's considered as a negative. But that really became a part of her sound and
Yeah.
her style, this latency.
Yeah, she really used that really well, and it created more of a, the whole sound. And it wasn't done in just like a gratuitous way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was really tastefully done. I appreciated that. Sometimes it's overdone.
Yeah, she has, I don't know too much about what her inspirations are, but she has one album, and before she recorded, she had come back from a tour and was like kind of exhausted. So she like laid in bed and watched Disney movies for a long time. And then when she started writing, that kind of came out, like those type of melodies kind of wove their way into her
Wow.
thing.
Who doesn't need more distortion? Oh, that's so gross. I like that a lot.
She always looks completely different, by the way, too.
Always beautiful, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I forget what I was going to say. Well, one thing on her albums, I wish she would focus on her guitar playing a little more. Not be, the songs are great, but she's such an interesting guitar player. I wish she would put that out front a little more.
Yeah, because on the albums, I guess it's not as a focal point, I guess, or
No, not really.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
More live. Now, one thing.
interesting. Okay.
One thing that I'll say a little bit of a criticism about her, most recent few albums is she definitely like creates them in the studio. And it's great, but then when she goes live, those songs like have a whole different energy that's so great. And I wish she would go and play the songs live for a while to find that energy before she records them.
Interesting.
She had one album, like I think 3 albums ago. And I don't know if maybe they were trying to like break her as like a pop dance artist.
Right.
So it's very, very, built in the studio.
Yeah.
And the guitar is like put way in the back. And, I struggled with it at first because of the production, but I liked the songs. Then a few months later, she released the same songs with just piano and vocal.
Wow.
And that, opened my mind to them. But then when she plays songs from that album live, they're just like so. And there was just an energy to it that didn't, was.
You take on a new life. I mean,
the focus on the album was on the rhythm, keeping a rhythm going the whole way through. But live, it'll be like when you get to the chorus and then the bridge, it gets bigger and bigger, and the audience comes in. So,
wow.
But I'll tell you, I don't know exactly how old she is, but she came from Austin, Texas.
Oh, once again.
Yeah. She had a big Catholic family.
Really?
And
Okay.
I think
Really?
I think the father disappeared after a while. But then, I guess it'd be 2 albums ago, apparently the father, his job was like to be the payroll guy for some company.
Okay.
And he started slipping a little in his pocket, and he went to prison. So she released this album called Daddy's Home about when he got out of...
Oh, God, yeah.
And for that one, she really went into 70s funk.
Wow.
And when she toured that, again, good album, but it came so alive. But she had such a great funk band.
Wow.
She had this female keyboard player that could just do it all.
Wow.
And she had a bass player who usually plays with Beck. He's this Jewish guy with a fro, and he's just fantastic at the funk. And a good rhythm guitar player, great drummer, and and a great performance too. It was all kind of like little comedy skits, and
Really?
there was but a weird comedy skit, just like somebody calls her, and a woman dressed in, I don't know what she's supposed to be, from a 1950s diner comes out with her phone. And she starts talking on a phone, and one of her friends is having a bad acid trip, so she has to talk him down.
Wow, that's pretty out.
But a great show, and she, her persona for that tour was a whole new thing that she said she based it off of Candy Darling. Do you know who that is?
I don't know what it is.
A guy trans to woman who was one of the Warhol superstars.
Wow.
And I think she died young. I think, Lou Reed probably sang about her.
Okay.
She's probably mentioned in Walking the Wild Side.
Wow, okay.
And so it was this very interesting persona that she had during that. But it really,
He actually mentioned her name? Maybe he did.
yeah, I think he
Very
just said
familiar.
Candy could have shake that thing or
yeah,
something.
that's right. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I just...
Yeah, I love her. I mean, I would like to see her live next time she comes into
I'll
New
let you
York.
know. That'd be great.
That would be great.
But not only her playing, but her songwriting and her lyrics are kind of brilliant too. She's not a big star, but she's definitely recognized. She was given an award. It was kind of wasn't called a Genius Award, but that's kind of what it was.
Was it a Grammy or something? Or?
No, it wasn't musical. It was
Okay.
so she got to go to this event, and it'd be scientists and
Wow.
all these different things.
Really?
Just people who stand out and who filled. But she has won a lot of Grammys, probably 4 Grammys at least.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's the Grammy. She wins the awards that they don't show when they
Right, of course.
show. I wish they.
I can't even watch that. Honestly, I can't even watch it. I can't even watch it. I can't stand it.
But I wish they would do another one,
Yeah.
which is all the awards that they don't show.
Yeah.
Who wins the jazz album? Who
Yeah.
wins the alternative album, which is what she usually wins.
Right.
That would be much more interesting to me.
Yeah.
But let's look at now. Saint Vincent. She even though St. Vincent is her assumed name,
Right.
but she's also very open about being Annie Clark, which is her
Right.
given
Sure,
name.
Given name, yeah.
But she had an interesting background. She went to what's the big music school up in Boston?
Berkeley.
Yeah, I think that's where she went, and she
I mean,
dropped.
that's one of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the...
But she dropped out because she said she felt like she was just doing athletics.
Right,
And it was meaningless for her. But, you know, what she did after that, she did a couple really cool things. I think the first thing she did, she was a member of Polyphonic Spree, which is a totally unique band from Austin, something. It's its own thing. We'll play a few minutes of...
Okay.
I
So
don't...
this is Polyphonic Spree then?
Yeah. Yeah, she talks about, like, she said she went in there to try out. They were getting ready to go on tour, needed a guitar player, and they were like, can you make it sound squishy? Can you make it sound...
And she did, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. But here's a bit...
She's the first woman to design her own line of...
Oops, this isn't what I wanted to watch. We'll watch that then.
I'm so happy,
here we
cause
go.
today
Polyphonic
I
Spree.
found my friends, they're in my head. I'm
they're
so
covering the
ugly,
Fox song here.
that's
Usually they do
okay,
original
cause so
music.
are you. We broke our mirrors, Sunday morning is every day for all I care. But I'm not scared, light my candles in a daze, cause I found God. Yeah, yeah.
And they always wear the white
I'm
camo.
so lonely.
Really?
That's okay. I shake my head, and I'm not sad. And just maybe I'm to blame for all I've heard, but I'm not sure. I'm so excited. I can't wait to meet you there, but I don't care. I'm so horny. That's
Yeah, people like, I guess, they love ensemble groups. I think they have a, and maybe even almost like a Broadway vibe. It's not exactly Broadway, but I think the general public likes ensembles like that. I think. I feel that. I don't know.
I don't think these guys are that popular. They were
Yeah.
probably came out of the 90s. Maybe.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
really sure. But now the other thing she did is she played for what's this? Glenn Branca's Guitar Orchestra.
Okay.
You know him?
I don't know. I don't.
He came out of the New York no wave scene with like John Zorn and some of these
John's
people.
around. Yeah.
I went to see his guitar orchestra just before he died, and he just came out and conducted.
Wow.
I mean, he is a player and had his roots in different things. But people said, "Oh, it's really loud." So I went there, and there's like almost no PA system. It's just like 6 guitar players with these little amps and a drummer. I'm like, oh, this doesn't look like it's going to be that loud. They started playing, and it was fucking... I looked around and people were like this. They had smiles on their faces, and I was struggling. I thought I was going to have a panic attack.
Wow.
I loved it,
Oh my
but it
gosh.
was so intense. And then during the intermission, I went up and sat in the balcony.
Holy moly.
But he does these guitar symphonies, and it would be like each movement will be like an album side, and it's really an incredible thing. And she ended up in that somehow.
Wow.
And we'll watch a few minutes of that. one time Bronco, he did a performance down by the piers, and it was 100 guitar players, and the public was kind of like invited, and I think they could, maybe like each person could only play one note, and I wasn't there unfortunately, and I knew about it. I should have went, but yeah, he's a pretty fascinating guy, and but you put together, she starts off in Polyphonic Spree and then goes to this.
This thing.
It's like, it's a pretty interesting.
Yeah, a bunch of cool influences though. Like
Yeah.
different things.
And then, you know, I think I started hearing about her when she did this album with David Byrne. Which
Right.
I did hear, like, watch a minute of one video, and I wasn't taken by it.
Yeah.
And even now, I haven't really connected with the David Byrne album. Let's look at the one thing. St. Vincent has her own line of guitars.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
And I had a thing where I watched this video. I didn't know anything about the artist, and I wasn't thinking about it, but I'm like, this reminds me a little of St. Vincent. And then when they got to the guitar solo, suddenly it's like, whoa, this is definitely influenced by St. Vincent. And only later did I realize both the guitar players were playing her signature guitar. And to give them a plug, they're my second favorite band. They're called Descartes and Cant. Brilliant, unique. Check them out if you're interested. But let's, I think this is a little bit about her guitar line.
Oh wow.
When we say that this is like the first guitar of its kind that's been created by a woman, we're not saying expressly that it's only for women, right?
No, it's not. I think I'm partly responsible for the press story that became that I made a guitar only for women, because I was joking on Instagram, check out my new guitar, you know, there's room for a breast or two. You know, like, I thought I was making absurdist joke.
But this guitar went out to people like Dave Grohl and Beck and like Omar from the Mars Volta. Like,
Yeah, he's ripping it. After the initial drawings and a lot of talk about pickups and wood and color and ergonomics, pretty much every week there would be a new prototype for me to check out. So we kept making adjustments and making sure that the balance felt right and making sure that it was as comfortable to play sitting as it was standing up. There was that kind of explosion of quote unquote women in music. There were a couple guitar brands that purported to cater specifically to women, and they were like pink
Exactly.
or flower
Always,
shaped. As a kid, like trying to work out Pantera riffs, I was so offended.
Where do you hope this guitar will live in the sort of pantheon of guitars?
I wanted people to actually play it and not have it be like, well, it's this totem of this guitar player I like, but actually like make their own things with it. It's a great player.
Cool.
So we'll watch one more thing, which is like one of my favorite songs of hers.
Okay.
And this song, you know, her melodic sense is really interesting to me. Like, some of it is so off-kilter and angular, and then some of it is so sweet and poppy.
Right.
This is more of the off-kilter thing, and I believe this has a ring modulator on
okay.
the guitar, and the lyrics are like completely bizarre. It's basically telling her husband, or not her husband, but like her boyfriend who cheats on her, like, bring those women home, I want to love them too.
Oh my god, that's great. That's what the lyrics say. I guess that's
Yeah.
what the song's about.
Our next guest is an acclaimed singer, songwriter, and musician, and this is her eponymous CD. Right there, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome back to the program, St. Vincent.
Were all the shows like choreographed a little bit?
This is the first tour I saw her, and it definitely was.
Bring me your loves, how you loves, you loves, I wanna love them too, you know. Bring me your loves, how you loves, you loves, I wanna love them too, you know. Bring me your loves, how you loves, you loves, I wanna love them too, you know. Bring me your loves, how you loves, you loves, I wanna love them too, you know. I thought you would like a dog.
I love the choreography. It's great.
I took you off your leash. I took you off your leash, but I can't, no, I can't make you feel. Bring me
First opposite, right? Yeah.
No, that was the fourth.
Wow.
First one that I got into.
Oh my God, there you go. Thank you, everybody. That was delightful. Good to see you.
St. Vincent, ladies and gentlemen.
I love that. I love your hair.
But
St.
yeah, I love
Vincent,
that
ladies and
song.
gentlemen.
It's like,
Wow.
I mean, it's got a really good flow and like peaks to it, but then the guitar lines are so.
Yeah.
Like you'd sing one line, and then it would like go into a brand new melody. Very cool stuff.
Yeah, and the sounds are kind of amazing, actually. I mean, it's not. I know it's a guitar, like synth, obviously, and stuff, but it's just. But it's still guitar, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah, really, really, really unique and different, which is refreshing, you know.
Any thoughts on like the rhythm of the melodies, like the angular?
Yeah, I just think it's like staccato, angular. Yeah, I think angular is a good word. Just almost jagged, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
In not legato, I guess. But I think jagged or angular is a perfect word, perfect description of it, and just definitely gets your attention, like you said.
Yeah.
You kind of have to pay attention. You're just not.
Yeah.
It's not certainly not background music. You know what I mean? So
I had seen a clip today. I thought maybe it would come up when we were playing it, but she was talking about this chord she plays. It's a minor second, she said.
okay.
And
Yeah.
she's like, if you just can't find a chord atonal enough or something, like, here it is, the
Yeah.
minor second, I go to this.
Yeah, I mean, there's like, there's studies like people just find these intervals pleasing. Minor second is definitely kind of like something that it's just unsettling, you know what I mean, is to say the least.
Yeah.
So it's disturbing maybe in the...
And that's one of the things about her music, particularly the earlier stuff. It'll be kind of like these sweet, syrupy melodies.
Yeah.
And then, it'll build into something that's so, grinding against your nerves.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, and kind
what she
of peaks
does.
and valleys, actually.
Yeah.
But the melodies are really lyrical. I mean, the melody of the chorus is really nice.
Yeah.
Bring me in. It's nice.
Yeah,
But,
it's catchy.
but then it has these jagged, angular guitar parts that are just... And visually, it's very entertaining too, with the choreography, the dancing.
Yeah, we didn't really see any of it now, but during this tour, she was doing this, like, she and the Asian girl
guitar player.
would do this little strange walk. And they'd, like, move around. They look like little robots on a conveyor belt or something, the way they go back and forth. It was, and that's what I saw the first time. I saw her not knowing who she was, and I was just... wow.
Yeah.
It was such a moment. Well, anyways, thank you, and thank you people for being with us. Hope to see you again soon, and check out St. Vincent.
Yeah, definitely check her out.